All right, campers, ready for Monday morning. How was your weekend? Hope you got out and did some fun things this weekend. It was super sunny. I did something kind of not fun. I spent all day Saturday cleaning out my garage. It was not super fun, but I got a lot done and I felt good about getting it done. So that was good. All right, we're going to start our lesson today and we're going to be talking about characters and using characters in our stories to help us understand better. So here's my poster for today. So we're going to be talking about how the character is feeling. So we want to pay attention when we are reading to how the character is feeling. What are the emotions that are going on with the character? Because that gives us some insight as to what's happening in the story and some better understanding. All right, so here's what we want to do. Readers pay attention to the characters in their stories. And here's some things that they notice. One of the things that you want to notice is how your characters act. So what are they doing? How are they acting? Are they acting mean? Are they acting nice? Are they acting shy? Are they acting upset about something? What is the way that they're acting in the story? We want to pay attention to that because we're going to learn about our characters by paying attention to how they act. So think back to some of the stories that we've read together. Think about how Rob acted in the story, Tiger Rising. Think about how Sistine acted. They acted pretty different, didn't they, in different situations? And it gives us kind of a glimpse into their character and who they are by how they act. So if you remember on the bus, Rob, when he was kind of being bullied, he just kind of acted real quiet and just kind of turned into himself and thought, I just want to get this over with. But Sistine, when she was getting bullied on the bus, she acted totally different. She was like ready to fight it, right? She was like, stop it. And she was very verbal and was ready to give it right back to the bullies. So they acted differently. So I want you to think about how your characters act. The next thing I want you to think about is this one. How do they speak? How do they talk? What kind of language do they use? How do they speak to authority? How do they speak to their teachers, their parents? How do they speak to their friends? This makes me think about Dune. How does he talk? How does he talk? How did he talk to the mayor on assignment day? What kind of language did he use? He was pretty strong in his language when he was telling the mayor that, the city's falling apart and I don't think what you're doing is right. Like, he was very verbal about that. And that gives us a real insight into his character by the way he talks, right? All right, the other thing I want you to think about is what they say. What kind of things do they say? What do your characters talk about? What kind of things are important to them? If you pay attention to the dialogue in your story, what they're saying, it gives you some insight into what is important to your character. And then that gives you insight into what kind of character they are. And it helps you understand the story better. What kind of things are they saying? Okay, think about Granny in The City of Ember. Think about the kind of things that she was saying. She was talking about old times, and she was talking about like, where is it? Where's the thing? I've lost it. I've lost it. And when Lena first came back and said she was a messenger, and Granny said, you're not a messenger, you're a schoolgirl. We kind of started to get a glimpse about Granny, and that maybe something was going on, that she wasn't feeling quite well and things weren't quite all together there for her. So we got an insight by just her words, what kind of things she was saying. So we want to pay attention to what our characters say. And the last one, I want you to pay attention to what the characters are thinking. Because that's one cool thing about books, is that we get to kind of know behind the scenes. The authors often tell us what a character is thinking, even if they don't say it out loud. And that's different from, say, a TV show where we only know what the characters are saying. But in a book, the author can kind of write it in between the scenes that, so-and-so was thinking this. They might not have said it, but they were thinking it. And a lot of times their thoughts can give us some insight into who they are as a character too. So we want to pay attention to that. So then once you take all of this into consideration about your characters, and then we want to ask ourselves, well, what does this tell me about how the character feels? Once I know all of this, what kind of feelings is the character having? Does it tell me that they're feeling angry about things like Dune and Ember? Does it tell me I think about Lizzie Biscoe in Ember. If we think about how she was acting so silly and carefree and kind of just doing her own thing, and the way she talked, she was talking so fast about everything and not really paying attention at all to Lena's problems. And it kind of gives us some insight about how she feels. She just kind of cares about herself and doesn't have anything else going on, right? So if we pay attention, we get some ideas of their feelings, which gives us insight into the book. And then the last one here is, what does this tell us about the character as a person? So if we kind of pull that character out of the book and we think, what would they be like if they were a real person? What would they be like? And that kind of leads us here. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about like character traits. What kind of a person are they? Are they like an honest person? Are they a caring person? Are they a mean person? Are they somebody who is dishonest? What kind of a person are they? So if we think about all of these things, it gives us some insight into some character traits of that person. So when you put all of this together, it really helps us understand our character. And you know that once you understand your character, you can understand your book a whole lot better too. So today's IXL is going to be talking a little bit about character traits. So it's something that we worked on this year, so it shouldn't be a hard IXL for you today. So I want you to sign on. Make sure you sign on. It's H1. So sign on to IXL today, H1, and give it a try and do some character traits. This shouldn't be too hard for you, but it's going to be some really good practice thinking about character traits and your books that you're reading. All right? All right, we'll see you tomorrow.